Yo, 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 yo! What's up, fuckers?
There it is. We're back, and guess what? We got some guests with us.
We got our lovely ladies with us.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys know, I recently got married. This is my wife. Her name is Hannah. You guys saw it in the last episode. That's Madison.
This is
That's
my girlfriend,
Romo's
Madison.
girl. We here.
So, we wanted to bring them on for some episode, even if it was just to have them on, just so y'all can see them, meet them, and have them converse with us on the podcast, because they always sit over there while we talk on the pod, and they kind of sit, and like Hannah will feed us information while we're on the podcast, and Madison just saw it for the first time a few weeks ago, and so we wanted to have them on because
Why not?
why not?
Why the fuck? We love them, right? So we're here, and we love the podcast. Why not join two things that we both love?
I've also been drinking like all day, so this is good.
This is seriously amazing.
Literally been just drinking all day. These Michelob Ultras, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I have not been drinking all day. I've actually been with my parents all day.
You can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
That's
That's
who said that again? That,
Is it like a famous person?
It sounds.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
so. Someone said it.
I don't remember
Heard
who
it.
said it.
It's very important. It's something to live by, in
Yeah.
my opinion. So as you can
Especially
see,
when you're day drinking.
yeah, we are really close to each other because we love each other, and because that's just how the camera works. So
Also,
we are here.
I mean, there's nothing wrong. 6 feet, bro. Jesus.
I know.
Just kidding.
Shit's over. in Atlanta, at least.
Yeah. Today, though, we talk in the hype of Spiral, which we will talk about.
Yes.
We're talking about the original Saw movie that was done in 2004.
Yep. So we wanted to do Saw because, like he said, Spiral is out, and we thought it'd be too early to cover Spiral because, however people want to do, not going to theaters or anything, or it's not on streaming until July. I think like July 12th or something like that. 45 days after its original release. Something in that realm. It was July that I saw. So we want to give people ample opportunity. That way we could actually do spoilers when we do it. So we wanted to hype it up by giving y'all the Saw series this week. We know we gave y'all Godzilla vs. Kong last week. We're going back to full horror this week. And from what I've seen, a lot of people have been hyped about Spiral. And Spiral looks really promising compared to kind of what Jigsaw and the final chapter offered. So I'm pretty pumped about Spiral.
Me too.
Jay really wants to see it, so we'll have to go see it.
No, I texted that motherfucker. I asked him, I was like, well, because he snapped me one week and he was like, way to start the binge for the Spiral movie. And he like sent me pictures of like him watching Saw. And then I texted him I think just the other day. And then he never replied because
He's busy. He was hanging out with us the other day also, so I can see why he didn't reply.
He left me on red.
Yeah, he's a great guy though, so I can't
he's
hold
true.
him to that. But yes, we are covering Saw, the OG Saw. I'm freaking pumped about it. Before we get into anything in these first few minutes, we need to talk.
Chugging.
We need to talk the Dos Equis that's in hand. Madison and Hannah, what do y'all have?
Got that
Michelob Ultra Pure Gold.
How many calories are in it?
Literally nothing. Like 85.
85. It is like water.
It's like water.
2.5 carbs, okay.
Yeah, low cal, low
Do you
carbs.
still feel it though?
You need like 8 of them.
Very
Which is why I've been able to drink all day.
Yeah, I got you.
The 12 pack has a dent in it, but it's still fine.
Yes.
And Justin and I have our regular Dos Equis. I do want to shout out my pops was drinking Dos Equis Amber today. So this will eventually, hopefully, lead to us actually getting a sponsorship with Dos Equis. We're going to keep bothering them and keep drinking Dos Equis until they give us.
I also would still continue to like to point out that he's already started drinking his. So
It's how it goes every single episode.
Yeah, so we're here. But we're chugging,
Yep.
and we're gonna do it now.
The women are going to take a sip.
And we're not chugging.
They're not
Yeah,
chugging.
not checking.
Yeah, they
That's
can
not
do.
happening.
They can do whatever they want to do.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
21st century.
Yeah.
So here's to Saw.
2021.
Saw. Cheers.
Nice little sip.
The nice little
Unnecessary
refreshing.
to chug.
So much
Oh.
better than the burping and the gurgling.
That one
Yeah.
wasn't that bad. Okay,
Yeah,
there it is.
there it is.
There it is.
After coming back 1 week, yeah, I think we're good now.
Yeah, we're good. We needed that settle back in.
Yeah.
After covering Godzilla, if you haven't watched our Godzilla one, I know it's not super horror niche in that genre. It's kind of adjacent. So if you really do, we expected the diehard fans and people that maybe more casual, maybe don't follow all the horror stuff we do, still like that episode. It did pretty well, so we encourage everybody just keep watching and listening. We'll actually have audio start coming out this week again. We just want to get the videos rolling and get that under our belt because that takes a lot of work. As anyone that is a content creator knows, it takes a lot of work. So Justin edits the videos, it's big time. I work on some of the thumbnails and stuff. We collab and do all this together, and it's not easy, as y'all know. So appreciate everybody that took a listen and took a watch. Listen to our fucking antics.
Before we start this episode, I would just like to point out. Can you look at the camera real quick?
Looking at the camera.
Just smile at them. Look at this stash.
I knew you.
Look at this stash.
If you're on audio, check out the video. It's purely. I just trimmed up the stash today, but I shaved everything else, and I look
like an '80s porn star.
I guess so.
Like a cop that wears like aviators. That's
Yeah.
it.
I look like Reno 911.
Yes, that's the one.
I love it. Nah. I mean, he pulls this off probably once a year.
This is better. This is the best I've pulled it off, I think. So we're gonna keep rolling with it.
There's nothing wrong.
I have to go to like a client in like a week, so I don't know how that's gonna work.
It's gonna be great. That client might probably will love it just as
I'm
much as
sorry, I
we
haven't met her before, so I hope she likes it. Hope she likes me. We'll see.
Just show her your abs, and then that's it.
That's
Madison's like.
Don't do that. Don't do
for
that.
everyone listening. I do accounting work, so that would be very out of place. Very out of place to walk into a company and do that. So anyway,
Yeah.
let's freaking get to it. So this first part, we're going to be talking about the storyline. We are going to mix it up. The second part is going to be on characters. There's a lot of interwoven characters throughout the episode, throughout the movie. So we're going to talk like more in depth about that, what we can't cover in this storyline.
Excuse me.
That's fantastic. So all our storyline we're going to cover here. Part 3, y'all know what it is, what we loved, what we didn't love, pillar point system. So to kick this off, we got our 2 guests here. So I do want to ask Hannah and Madison, when did y'all see Saw? Like, was it recent or was it a while?
About finished it about 20 minutes ago.
Hannah just saw it for the first time.
No, not the first time.
Oh, for the first time, but in a while.
Yeah,
It's
it's
been
been
like
like
10, 12
years.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I didn't remember a single thing.
Yeah.
Right. The last time I saw was in high school,
Way back.
but we did a little
Yeah.
refresher. We watched
We shout out Dead Meat James.
Dead Meat
James
Kill Count.
I watch his kill counts probably every night before bed if I'm not watching a horror movie. Madison can attest to this. So he's my dog. I get a lot of information from him. So also check him out. We need help with the views more than he does. The man gets like millions of views on his videos. But we did get the refresher, and so if you know the twist that happens and all of the twist that happens, it takes away from it a little bit, but it's still freaking amazing and catches you off guard. Because I remember Madison was telling me, she was like, when I first saw this, I was like, I couldn't believe this is what it was. So Justin, y'all just wrapped it up, so it's really fresh in y'all's mind.
Yes.
Give me like y'all's thoughts on what it was like to even like. I know you knew the twist, but it still feels incredible every time you see it, and y'all just watched it.
Yeah. Well, it's also been like a hot minute since I've personally seen it. Probably not as long as she has. But you tell me, how did you just feel just now watching it before they got here?
Felt a lot of emotions.
Uh-huh.
It was intense. On the edge of my seat for most of it. I got really anxious. Like knowing that they had all the means to take this guy down, and they had the gun and they just wouldn't shoot him. Nobody would shoot him.
Yeah.
So
Talking about Zeph, right?
yeah, when he was in the house, the wife could have shot him. The cop had all the opportunity to shoot him. So it made me very anxious to know.
And like she already has anxiety, by the way. Like that's so
Well-
it just made it worse, probably. I'm assuming.
I mean, I get anxious watching stuff that is supposed to make you anxious.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
supposed to have that effect.
Yeah, but
Which
it
is
was
wild.
It was intense.
Yeah, I mean,
So many plot twists.
For sure.
there's tons of plot twists literally all along the way. Another thing I was thinking about what Hannah was saying was like you really do have you find out more like more of the story keeps unfolding throughout. But one common misconception, and it's a fair misconception because the sequels get very gory and very torture porny. But the first one is not that gory.
Not
at the end of the
all.
day. Compared to the others and compared to, it feels like a normal slasher when it comes to like blood.
Mhm.
You feel the same way?
Yeah. Well, so to me, there was not one scene in there, which is surprising because it's Lee Wanell and James Wan. But there was not one scene in the movie where like you saw any kind of cutting or any kind of like anything. Like one part probably, like you saw the beginning
Yes.
of
The
Dr.
infamous-
Gordon
yeah.
trying to. You saw the beginning of him trying to cut his leg off or his ankle.
Yep.
Just for a second.
But for 2
Yeah,
seconds and it
yeah.
turns away.
Yeah.
So there was really not like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Not in this one. You see it a lot more in like the sequels and stuff.
Yeah.
But not in the first movie.
And a lot of the gore is off scene, so you see the after effect.
Mhm.
Even when it comes down to Lee Wanell playing Adam, beating someone with the top of the top of the toilet.
The toilet, yeah.
Like you don't see any of that. You just see the blood splatter.
I wish
and-
you did.
Yeah, I know. It was right. It's rightful for him to do that. But like Saw boils down to really being like a mystery of a serial killer that has some gore speckled out, and then also like kind of funny. You got like an escape room vibe.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
that's
Which
what
is
she
cool.
said.
She
Yeah,
was
it
like,
almost feels like an escape room through the whole story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it made me actually want to do an escape room. Like we were talking about it during the movie. I was like, God damn, I wish I could go back and do like escape room like right now. But obviously we were just watching a goddamn movie. So so what did you think of Saw, Madison? Actually, I'll do with you this time. But what did you think of the movie just in general? Like as far as the story goes, was there anything that you didn't like enjoy, as storyline wise?
No,
Or
I
the
think
things you
this.
did.
I think the storyline was actually really creative. Like
Mhm.
before Saw came out, what other movie is even similar to Saw? Like
Yeah.
back in the day when it was first released, there was nothing like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's what made the storyline so unique and so creative, was that nothing else was like it.
You have a lot of character. Like we lay the scene with all the characters. Like you see detectives that are starting to piece together these murders. You got the guy that's in the razor. Like I'm gonna kind of breeze through these. We want to get to the meat of the story. But yeah, the guy that was in the razor blade trap. You have the guy that was, in my opinion, in a really dumb, almost impassable trap when he's covered in the flammable jelly,
Yeah.
and like he has to hold a candle that's lit on fire like to get a safe. He's already been poisoned. Stupid trap in my opinion. I don't see how anyone can get out of that. Then you have Amanda that gets out of the reverse bear trap, which is the most infamous trap in all of Saw, in my opinion, outside of the rack, which we see in part 3. But the reverse bear trap. So we get through all this stuff. Justin, what are your thoughts as we're going through this story? And you're starting to see all these things being pieced together, and we still don't know who the killer is, and it's become a mystery. And like, you see gore, but you're like, wow, like these people are just like, the serial killer is testing them on their will to live, right?
So as like the movie goes, it's cool to see that like the killer. I like seeing purpose, right?
Yeah.
When you see like, as far as like story goes, like what is this killer's purpose? Like for me, I was like, what is Jigsaw's purpose? Why are you trying to, like, what did they do to you to make you want to torture
Yep.
these
Yeah.
people, right? Like they're
Right.
literally torture. Like, so one of the biggest things for me was like being able to see like them uncovering like what his purpose was. All these people that he's torturing are people who, like, this dude, Dr. Gordon's a cheater.
Yeah.
Like
The connection to him being Adam, being the person who was hired by Detective Tapp to photograph him for a different reason. You would have thought it was by his family to
Yeah.
catch him, but
we
that's
thought
how
it
they're
was
connected.
we thought it was the wife.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is a
yeah.
Well,
fair
when you
assumption.
first find that out, it's really interesting. She's like, oh my god, the wife hired Adam to follow around him to like find pictures of him cheating or whatever. And then you realize that it's the detective. The detective's crazy, and he's the one trying to pin
Yeah.
Saw pretty much on him.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like the bear trap,
Wild.
she's a heroin addict. So all these, like, he tries to kill people who like have no sense of like gratefulness for life.
And that's the thing too, is so you're
It's like they
100
have nothing to
yeah.
lose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're 100% right, and I'm gonna really word splice what you said. and it's funny because it's a debate amongst this is Jigsaw doesn't really try to kill anybody, right?
No.
And that's the thing is like he does put people in the trap and he gives them opportunity to get out. You can argue which traps are easier to get out of than other ones. I still don't see how at the end of the day he wouldn't be called a murderer because Dr.
No,
Gordon,
yeah, he's still fucked up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Gordon at some point in the movie says, well, technically he's not a murderer. He gives you the tools to escape and take your free will. But you put somebody in a trap and they kill themselves, like through the means of the trap, you are the murderer.
Yeah.
You're also drugging these people to get them to where they're at. Like,
there's
it's,
tons of crimes.
Kid-
yeah, like this, like yeah.
Assault.
I would like to see the charges
There's
that
enough.
the Jigsaw killer
Enough
faced at the
felonies.
end.
Yeah,
So-
he's definitely mentally fucked up. And
Yeah, and we find out later through the sequels, if you haven't seen them, that we find his like motivation. There's several motivations, which kind of gets repetitive. You get later in the sequels, you get a car crash, you get cancer, you get a miscarriage that his wife experienced through abuse, not from him, from someone else that was trauma. But a lot of stuff like that, it starts unfolding. But like in this, we have limited information at this point, so we really don't even know who this Jigsaw killer is. We just see the actual Jigsaw puzzle pieces getting cut out of all these victims. And so Detective Tapp is on the run trying to find them. Detective Singh is on the run trying to find them. And they do get down to Jigsaw's lair, right? And they find somebody in a trap. When Jigsaw comes up the elevator, and they find that because in one of the Billy the Puppet videos, you see a gang sign on one of the walls, and Detective Tapp recognizes that gang's territory, and so fire alarm goes off in the video, and so they look up which fire alarm has went off in the last few days in that area, which is extremely clever to me. That is just, it shows you the behind the scenes of the detective work and really makes you feel like it can be kind of soap opera-y like throughout the film, but it really makes you see like this really is a mystery of detective work trying to find this killer. Later in the series it gets like tortury, very tortury, but they put a lot of thought into, I feel like, the building of the killer in the first movie, which is so important.
That's like, it's Lee Wanell for you, man. You know what I mean?
And James Wan.
James Wan.
Yeah.
That's like, those two are, I mean, he'll probably agree with me. Those two are probably, I mean,
There's
matter of fact, we've talked about this before. James Wan's probably our favorite
he's my favorite horror director.
horror director. And Lee Wanell does really, really great writing. He talks about, I mean, like, with his stories, he's very meticulous. He's very specific on, like, what he does. She was looking up, and I was trying to, like, she didn't realize that Adam was Lee Wanell.
Yeah.
during his
Yeah,
movie.
isn't it incredible?
Yeah.
I was just on IMDb during the
Look at-
movie
she was-
looking at people.
She was like, "Oh my God, he's in all Insidiouses."
yeah,
And
I
like,
didn't realize.
and then, like, she's like, "Oh my gosh, he's in all of these," and I'm like,
It's awesome.
"Yeah, this dude. I mean, he directed Invisible Man."
Yeah.
Yeah, and Upgrade is another good one that was done before Invisible Man.
Yeah.
With I can't remember the actor's name who did it. He is a Tom Hardy lookalike, so I can't remember his name. Sadly.
And I was like, "This dude, he
Looks
actually, he looks like, you know who Lee Wanell looks like?
Who?
Ezra Miller. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, you're gonna have to refresh me.
So Ezra Miller plays.
That sounds very niche, and I
yeah.
don't want to do that
Yeah.
injustice.
Ezra Miller plays the Flash in Marvel. Like not Marvel. DC in like the movie Justice League. He also was in the movie with
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, I see the resemblance.
with what's his face? The movie with
See,
Emma Watson. I'm trying to think of the shit.
You look it up because I see the resemblance just from the Justice League piece. But like it's just crazy. Like the whole time he's one of the main people. Him and
Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yes.
good movie.
Yes,
Very good
yes,
movie.
yes,
That's,
yes.
I haven't seen that movie in God knows
Yeah.
how. I saw it in theaters when it came out. And,
It's on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So so you have him and Dr. Gordon in the in the bathroom with the body laying in the middle that has been poisoned and killed themselves. That's very important, obviously. And so they're kind of like they have a few things that happen. So you have like the glow in the dark charged paint that is the X marks the spot.
Oh,
but they
yeah.
end up breaking, but they don't see that until.
He's like, turn the
Adam's-
light off.
Yeah, but Adam didn't know that until Dr. Gordon passed his wallet and he found a picture that Jigsaw had left for Dr. Gordon, which was his family tied up. And Dr. Gordon hadn't looked in his wallet and seen it yet.
Yeah.
Because he obviously
He just
would have
thought
seen that
he
picture.
thought it was just a picture of
Well, he would have
family.
seen. Well, they're tied up, so I don't even think they're tied up and like gagged, so I don't
Yeah.
even think he, like Dr. Gordon had looked in his wallet.
No, right. But
Yeah.
when he handed the wallet off, he was like, oh, this is my family. Like, he just thought it was just a regular picture of his family. And then when he
Would
looked,
you think it was just a regular picture if your family was like tied up and gagged? In a
well, he
picture?
didn't know. I'm
he's
saying, like,
that he didn't realize it was swapped out.
yeah.
Oh,
So-
yeah, Dr. Gordon?
Yeah,
that's
Dr.
what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
He didn't even know that picture was in there.
Yeah, not at all. And obviously, Adam hid it from him for like a good half part of the movie.
He was
Like,
pretty sketchy throughout the film. Like he had
Yeah.
that. He also, obviously, when he pulled the 2 saws out of the plastic bag in the toilet, he hid the pictures were the ones that we had taken of Dr. Gordon.
Yeah.
So you have all this stuff, like all this tension building, like almost distrust being built in this room, which also adds an awesome layer to it because not only are you trying to figure out who the Jigsaw killer is, but you have this dynamic of these two. Like, you know, Dr. Gordon is tasked with killing him, and then you're like, how are they going to get out of this,
Yeah.
if at all?
So, like, what did you plot? You said you were anxious throughout the movie. What about the movie made you what specifically? What made you anxious? I'm assuming that there were like plot holes in there that probably made you go like. Well, actually, I'm not assuming. I know because she was literally just yelling at the TV about a half an hour ago. But what were like some of the things that like made you super anxious about the story?
I don't even know if I can pinpoint it. Just the whole thing. I mean, them being tied up, like knowing the way out and how it is to get out, and them not knowing. I mean, it's the same with every movie. You know the backstory. You know who's behind it. You know their way out, and they don't know it. Or they're trying to piece it together, and they're getting it wrong. Or they didn't know to turn the lights off to look for the X on the wall. All that just made me completely anxious.
Yeah, it's tough when you watch any movies like that and you do like the characters are so in the dark with stuff. Like it's like, granted, Saw did an incredible job hiding its final twist because you really would have had to guess entirely. And because the whole time, I honestly, when I first saw it, I thought Zepp was
Zepp was the
Jigsaw
and
killer.
like that pissed me off. Like just going through it, I'm like, yo, especially the wife, right? So she unties herself in the bedroom, bro. You're pointing the fuck, yo. Somebody broke into my fucking house. You'd be like, I mean,
I wouldn't even take 2 seconds to look you in the face. I'd just start shooting.
She should have shot. Yeah, she should have shot.
What in
Romo
the
could be
fuck?
walking through the door. He'd be dead.
If I had done that,
well, I don't
well,
know.
if I
No, I wouldn't look. I wouldn't take 2 seconds to look. I'd just start shooting.
That's unfortunate.
That's
really
whoa.
unfortunate for me.
Listen,
That-
listen.
Do I need to take your gun away?
Don't break into our house. Don't break into our house.
Yeah.
There we
That's
go.
all.
And I wouldn't anyway. Their house is haunted. I ain't doing that. We'll talk about that on Instagram real
Yeah.
life.
Haunted.
We're gonna talk about that on Instagram.
We've got some fucked up, like, especially the past couple of days, Gerald.
Yeah.
That's
This morning, some shit went down.
Yeah, bro. This
It's-
ghost
There's
is.
a ghost.
Yeah, we're gonna please check out our Instagram. We're gonna talk about that the whole freaking time. So, what I want to finish with for the last few minutes while we talk the story, we go through this pretty quick because we are gonna talk about the characters in more depth in the second episode.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna talk more about what our like actual opinions are. So we're trying to talk as many facts and as many backstory and as many just fun, interesting things to talk about in the story as we can in this first section. So we have to talk about the final twist. Like, we just have to. So, you know, Adam, Zepp does get in the room. Dr. Gordon has cut his leg off, which we don't see. But he's like, I have to kill you. So he shoots Adam, that is what he's tasked with doing through the cassette tape that he hears. So he has to do that. And then basically, like, Zepp gets in there and Adam kind of saves Dr. Gordon by killing Zepp with the toilet cover. And then Dr. Gordon, he dies out, right?
He
No,
No,
he's
he
still-
doesn't.
no,
He
he's
doesn't
still
die,
alive,
but
no.
you almost like presume he's like unconscious.
Yeah.
Because they only focus on Adam for the final reveal.
Adam and James or Kramer.
And obviously John Kramer. That shot is incredible also because you get like it's Adam's like side profile and then the body rises up off.
Bruh.
What was your impression like when that first happened?
You talking to me?
I'm talking to
Heart
everybody.
was
Oh.
racing.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks he's dead.
Yeah.
He's been
the
laying
whole time.
there.
That was probably one of the things that like irked me, is like, how the fuck do you not see this motherfucker breathing?
He had suppressed his breathing with a drug.
Is
So he
that
wasn't
is
breathing.
that said
So
in the
when did they
movie?
say that?
It is said in the movie. He says
I
it in
missed
the
that.
movie, yeah. So you have to listen to one because he says like basically he slowed his heartbeat with a specific drug. Or they
Wow.
may say it in the second one. I don't think they say it in the second one unless they recap. I have to look back. It's either the first and second one. Let us know in the comments if you know this answer. We have to go back in detail and review that. But
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I know that is the fact of what happens.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's said in the first or second movie is the
The question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't hear it in the first one, so it could be the second one.
Yeah.
But I could also have just not been paying attention.
If
Like
I
that.
was one of them though, and I was in that situation, that was chained up, and I was trying to either kill the other person or help us both escape, and the last thing I would be doing is paying attention to what I think is the dead guy in the middle of the room.
Right.
He could be breathing,
Yeah, I
and I
mean-
would have no
Right,
idea.
no, you wouldn't pay them any mind because you
Yeah.
think that they're
You're focused
you know,
on yourself
like,
and the other person.
yeah, that's
and
not
getting out.
the person that you would be worried about because you presume that.
Bro, that takes a lot of fucking patience.
That music plays when he's standing. Yeah, it's just laying there, just
So is it
the,
6
For
hours?
the whole, I mean, the thing, I think the clock was at like 3 something, so it was a couple hours.
It was like a solid 5 hours. So I think it starts around 10, and then he needs to
Okay.
do it by.
by 6.
Yeah,
No, so it
it's
was
a
like
long
probably
time.
like 1 to 6 maybe.
Okay.
I have to look back because that they make very specific comment about
Yeah.
the clock in the room because the clock looks new, everything else looks like shit, and he's like, so obviously someone put this clock here for a reason, and
Yeah.
the tape tells you why. But Madison, when we were talking about this movie, and I was just trying to get her gauge on how long ago she had seen it. At first, she wasn't sure if she had seen it before, so I was really excited to be able to watch it. And she was like, "Oh, I think I watched it in high school," and immediately reveals the twist. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, that's
I
what
was like,
sticks out.
wasn't it the guy in the room?
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, yeah, you've seen it.
Iconic. So like, it's just iconic in that twist entirely. Like you just,
Yeah, that's something I remember. Like I said, I don't remember
That is
many details, but I know that because it was such a shocking ending.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like something like James Wan and like Lee Wan are both like good at. Like that's something that like
Incredible.
it's like something like you never really expect. Even like to this day, 17 years later, you probably don't expect like that type of ending with those two.
Yeah, building tension, building suspense, but also keeping everybody on edge, and then hitting you with something you weren't expecting happens in all of their films, which is remarkable. Invisible Man does it incredibly well. It has a lot of like the shock factor for them is not shock factor in just the way that shock factor is done. Just because hey, I have this idea for one scene, everyone's gonna absolutely just lose their mind. Like you do it a certain way, like Lee Wan-L and James Wan does. That's how you become as successful as what they had done. Saw also, we'll talk about this more in the third part, but like Saw started as like a short, like it was a shorter film that I think Lee Wan-L and James Wan did like in school. I have to look that back up before we talk about the third one. I'll circle around to it. But I'm pretty sure it started as a really low budget film. It still is a low budget film, but you got Detective Murtaugh, aka Danny Glover, and then from Lethal Weapon, being Detective Tapp. So you had some firepower in there.
old for this shit.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
But yeah, I guess that before we run out of time, I guess that wraps up our story. Anything you guys want to say before we go to our sponsors as far as the storyline goes?
I got time in the second and third episode, so
Perfect. That's the storyline, man. It's a fucked up story. James Wan, Lee Wan-L, two of our favorites.
sets up an iconic franchise. So sponsors, let's hit Han Junkies first.
Han Junkies, my man, my woman.
Volante, Megan, thank you for all the support. They support us more than anyone even sees. You will eventually see it translated on screen, but check them out. They do haunted house reviews. We talked about it a ton. They are probably our actually main legit sponsor because they've done stuff for us.
Yeah.
But love them and we appreciate everything they'll do. Go check them out. Go check out their page. Go check out their website. And then we will have part 2 coming up. Check it out.
Yeah.
Peace.